So I think a question we're all going to have is permanent nerve damage versus what I'm calling compromised nerve. So I believe if the axon has been killed, if you've had the demyelination long enough that axon isn't dead, that's just doesn't seem possible to me will get better. But we're seeing people that have improvement in neurological symptoms. So that says to me there must be kind of a compromise to the nerves, that even though they're not dead, they're weakened. And by improving flow, by improving the stagnation in the swamp, that gets better. I don't see any other explanation. Some of the symptom improvements have to be vascular, but I can't see another explanation. Mark, of course, has an explanation for everything.
No, I've just been reading some interesting papers very recently. This one paper was on a set of rats. One group had diabetes, and one group was made hypoglycemic, just eating a lot of glucose. And what they found is that when you reduce blood flow to the nerve function reduced accordingly. So it was very interesting. You took these diabetic rats who had malfunctioning nerves, and they increased the blood flow, and the nerves started to function properly again. The hyperglycemic rats, when they started recovering, the nerve function recovered again. So in fact, it's almost like the system was going into hibernation. Maybe it's not being totally destroyed yet. Obviously, that would depend on how long we've had that problem. But the good news is that it seems like when you return the flow, you return the function. And sort of our pet rat, which is Steve Darling here, he's perhaps a very good example where on the table the blood flow returns and the nerves actually start functioning again. So he moves his hand. So I think we don't know how much damage is done over a given period of time. That's right. But there is evidence that flow is related to nerve function.
So I think this is one of the moments we're going to have to sort out so that we are not having, that we can set expectations properly. What's likely to not change, what is likely to change, these are things we're going to have to sort out. And then Simca sent us all an email this morning raising this point again, that the story is not going to be over once we relieve the large obstructions in the jugulars and azygos veins. On my model of it being more of a stagnation issue, that says to me there must be something that's hanging around in the extracellular, around the neurons, that we need to know more about, nitric oxide, glucose, something else. And then, can we do things for the endothelium? So there's all these. This internet world is way ahead of the medical profession on looking at vitamin D, low dose naltrexone. There are medications out there that are used for varicose veins. There's probably going to be a role for something where we try to strengthen the endothelium, clean out the swamp, in addition to simply removing the big blockages in the main storm drains. And then there's something going on with the genetics, so that we have to kind of sort out what's going on there. I didn't tell Mark this, but I ran my wife and daughter as normals. Neither one was normal. And they all had exactly the same finding. My son was much more severe. It was the same size, same location. So that's going to be. They both of them have severe fatigue. So they don't have MS. They don't have gadolinium-enhancing lesions or neurological symptoms. But they did not have normal studies. So getting more normals is critical. It's tough because it's hard for me. It's hard to convince a normal to give them gadolinium. It's a lot to ask of a friend. Mark, when you come in September, you can be a normal subject.
But it's an interesting point. Because remember the Dartmouth study? They did 500 cases, and I don't know if it was 250 normals and 250 MS patients.
And that was Doppler, wasn't it?
And only did MR2.
Yeah, but it wasn't the Haacke protocol, right?
Not completely. But basically what they claimed was they found 22% of the normals appeared to have the symptomatic criteria. Well, it turns out that they used age-matched relatives of the MS people. So in fact, I don't say this negatively, but they were criticized because they did that. And from what you're saying, if this is genetic, or even if it's a 20%, it might They've only found 0% because he didn't use relatives of those people when he did his normal. But so that enough, they used those relatives. So maybe it's not a surprise that they found 20% might have similar things, basically just the way you did with your wife and your daughter.
Well, it gets worse. My wife wants to have the procedure. So I said, I am not going to tell my IR, who I've dragged into this mess. I sort of snuck it on him. You know, now he turns out he's a friend of Dake's, so he was not totally ambushed by me, but I was trying to ambush him, right? I was trying to get him to do my son, and then I got him on the IRB sort of before the politics really went crazy. And now he's totally happy he's doing it. You know, he's happy. All these IRs, all IRs are loving this, right? Their last cool disease was hysterectomy, was uterine fibroids, you know, which was Dr. Stolhani's last winning war. Okay. So what do I tell her? So I had her go to see a cardiologist, and they're sort of working through. He had never heard of this. He says, you don't do IR on veins. So here's a cardiologist who didn't know you could even do it on veins. So he's having to work through that. But they're saying I have severe fatigue. Isn't it possible that I'm going to end up with a MS lesion someday? So I think fatigue is going to be the final battlefield here. You know, it's not going to end with MS. What if it turns out fatigue is not a psychiatric symptom? Right? And then the viral autoimmune theory, at this point, that's the hoax, right? 40 years of research has come up with nothing. Billions of dollars of research, so they got nerve calling this the hoax. The drugs are, you know, there's the false hope. These drugs don't work very well. You know? So this really is the most exciting thing happening in MS right now. And the neurologists are on the sidelines for reasons that I still don't really understand. Everyone should be getting involved with this. Everyone should be studying this. And there's no way around studying it but to have people have the procedure, to find out what happens, find out which veins, find out who gets better, what doesn't. Everyone should be risking false hope, risking letting people go in there and not be helped. The second patient we evaluated, the husband, I said, well, you know, I understand neurologists don't want to give people false hope. The guy punched me in the chest with his finger. He says, who do you neurologists think you are to be not saying this, that false hope is a bad thing? You know, how about any hope, right? What's weird about neurology is we specialize entirely in untreatable diseases. We're the ones that have no hope, right? So we just got to get out of that attitude and start helping these people. Thank you.